Good evening, everyone. You are with Global Voice 2012, and today is the 18th of July, Wednesday, and I will begin by telling everyone that we have, once again, joining us as backup in the wings, Kimberly, and I would like to thank her very gratefully for doing so. We have bad weather approaching, and I didn't, if something were to happen and I were to get bumped offline, I didn't want the program to go off air. So Kimberly is here to pick up if my power goes out. Okay, and I would also like to thank the other very kind volunteers that I have had step up and offer their assistance because we're shorthanded right now. And I've got people helping in the chat room, which is located on globalvoice2012.us, and then you go to the top where the button is that says chat room. I regret, once again, I will not be able to address questions from the Blog Talk Radio chat room. And we have two people helping on the Facebook page for overflow questions. So I would like to welcome Drake to the program. Drake, you are live. Welcome, Drake.
Hello.
Glad to have you with us as always. And
well,
we also
good to be here.
We also have Lady Dragon with us, and we have not heard yet. Hi, Lady Dragon. Have not heard from Rick Light, Minuteman yet, but he may be calling in shortly. So, Drake, I don't have any other announcements or news. I will let you go ahead and start because I think we have lots of information to share yet again.
Yeah, there is quite a bit. I got a bunch of different things. Somebody in the listening audience sent me a thing today that I thought was interesting. Apparently somebody did a voice analyzation of one of my radio shows, and they don't seem to equate real people with reality some way or another. I ain't sure how that works. So I sent them an email to ask them about that. I figure I should know what they're doing. The thing I'm looking at, I got several things I'm looking at here. One of the things that did not happen today was some of this horrendous earth-shaking news I was going to have. I was hoping to be able to talk about it a little further on air, but I didn't get the documentation I was supposed to get in time for the show. Now, that does not necessarily mean that I can't speak about it. However, I'd rather read the thing first, and that was supposed to be part of what was going on. So as soon as I get this stuff, I will put it up. I understand Lady Dragon has a bunch of different news. Is that true, Lady?
Hi, Drake. Yeah, I have, this morning I got news that the FBI in New Jersey raided the home of the mayor of New Jersey. So things are starting to happen with the people being arrested, and they're trying to figure out what he has done. He says he's innocent, and it was actually reported by MSNBC, which is a good news, you know, Drake?
Yes, it is. It shows that somebody who's funky, corrupt, does not hold the dignity of an office by representing things correctly and being kosher, let's say, shouldn't be in there. The guy that she's talking about has been just about everything but right since he's been in there. He's had problems, I understand that, but you don't make problems worse when you get into a position like that. You do everything you can to make them better, and that was not the case. What I think is interesting is that here you go with a public official. You have a person that is running a website about that guy. specifically the questionable things that have been going on, a combination of missing funds, overstepping authority, a bunch of different things. And finally, the authorities found something. I don't know, they didn't stipulate what it was, and took action. So if it can be done even in a problematic situation like that, then it could be done also in other places. This could include a corrupt sheriff, small town mayor, some city council members that decided that they would split a pot or something. It goes in all directions from there. So people need to be aware of that idea and the fact that you may not personally facilitate the arrest. It may be that your work does it. That people look at it and they take a good hard look at who you're talking about. They check them out and they find some fun and games that shouldn't be there. Consequently, they can go after them. So what else you got, Lady Dragon?
I spoke with a gentleman today that is from the National Standards Enforcement Agency, which he was a long time ago working for a sewage company, and he figured out that the waste management industry was the biggest one in the world. He said to me that they were dumping over 30 million tons of toxic waste into the water and the sewage in order to kill off slowly. And he found that by accident because he was working there, and he found out that at a convention or conference or something of that sort, there were high-up people going there, and he said, what the hell, why are they coming here? And he has been working on that for a long, long time. He has a website, which is actually the National Standard Enforcement Agency, the NSEA.us. Which is on my site. You can go and look at it. He has a lot of documentation on that. So that's a good start to starting to learn about all sort of stuff that's going on. Because this is something, honestly, I must say, I know a lot of things. It's the first time I hear that. Hey, Greg, that's not something commonly known, eh? That you know, right, Greg?
Yes. This is the sort of thing we're looking to do. We're looking at what we're trying to find out. And these things are definitely something that people need to understand that, oh, good grief, there are no limitations. In other words, if you've got a certain thing that you understand that other people don't, in terms of something that needs to be addressed. It could be an issue. It could be something in fact, like this man. It could be a problem with a person, as in the other story. Anything is fair game. Be sure that you can prove it. Don't get in trouble that way. But take a close, hard look at some people that that's questionable, and see what you might think should be done, and go ahead and take some action on it. It won't hurt anything. What else you got, Lady Dragon? Is that about it, or you got more?
Yeah, I have more. I have a few more. I have just find out a news that came out that the CIA is sued over targeted kill drone strike. It has been reported that the American civil for killing the CIA sued over targeted kill drone strike for killing 3 of U.S. citizens overseas without bringing them to trial. The CIA and the U.S. are being sued by the American Civil Liberty Union. It is the latest episode involving its drone program. You know about this, eh, Drake? And all these drone killing people, and people think it's a game killing people, but it's not. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly. I already said something once about this. People don't understand it, but there is a load of drones waiting to go. They've not been turned loose yet. There's a lot of supposed ready activity by the federal government, and you don't see any movement. You don't see the action. And generally speaking, if there's no action of any kind, generally that means that that action is not going to be taken. So what I'm looking at is that, you know, from a combination of different angles, the current administration here is probably in some similar shape to the people over in the European Union in terms of not having the cash to take care of the business necessary. And when that happens, two or three things go on. The first thing is that the currency has a tendency to devalue. The second thing is that when that devaluation starts, you get a mad dash for the door by anybody who can get out. Third thing goes on is that somebody usually, in our case it might be the president. I don't know if he'd jump ship or not, just to be honest with you. But they have a tendency to, someone has a tendency to stay around and say, well, this is what happened, this is why it happened, and this is who did it. And that person, just to be real forward about it, I know for a fact that there are several of those in existence right now who have inside information as to things that everybody needs to, not only needs to know, but should know. That also there could be a combination of legal issues settled that have been questioned for some time now. And I look at that with the respect that was something done that they could remedy. Were they in a position to have documentation or first-hand evidence with maybe a witness or two? And if so, I would like them to think very, very carefully about coming forward in terms of exposing the problem so that it can be dealt with. And I'm not talking about something nonchalant, something that doesn't really matter. I'm talking about the important stuff. I read a lot, as everybody knows. I looked at Gordon Duff's Veterans today, and there's an outing on that UN Small Arms Treaty. Basically, it's stating that it cannot have an effect here in the United States. Well, it can if it's used in the form of precedence on a legal basis. And I did not see any of that sort of thing mentioned anywhere in the article. I did see, you got to have Congress approve it, you got to have this happen, you got to have people vote for it, you got to have people sign it. I did see one reference to the fact that no treaty can overstep any of the basic rights and stipulations that are contained within our founding documents. So if somebody wanted to really take that to task and prove it, we get a thing called the North America Free Trade Treaty that, irrespective as to it being agreed upon, does subjugate us financially. That's one item, and there are several others, but like I said, I was hoping today to get some earth-shattering news. I haven't gotten it, but I do know the subject, and I'll be talking about that in a bit. Now, I did find a neat little thing today, and everybody out there in Gaga land who would like to have some money might want to pay attention to this. There's a $100,000 reward for fast and furious info. Somebody got documents. Somebody has information with witnesses that can corroborate things that went on that basically put this into the proper perspective and under the laws of our country, so that it's not just rumor and maybe this and, oh, executive privilege or whatever might be going on. It's $100,000, it ain't bad. The other part of it is that there'd be a lot of people that would be extraordinarily pleased with someone who would come forward with that information. Now, one thing I did want to discuss, and that is that we got a lot of rumors, ifs, what ifs, executive orders that are not approved, and they do have to be approved, emergency declarations, things of that nature that we need to address. And it's all contained in one simple posting that was done by someone in the past here a week or two ago. It says that NATO has implemented and established a huge disinformation campaign. Now, the North American Treaty Organization is big. The several nations involved in that are fairly wealthy, whether or not they got problems in terms of finance or not. And we've got loads of these insider leaked pieces of information about, let's see here, foreign troops on the ground. There's supposed to be 1 million of them all of a sudden. Ooh, okay. It turned out to be 12. It was a detachment of Russian troops. We had some from I'm trying to think of the name of the country. That is difficult. Slovenia, I believe. It was a mixed group of them and some other people. Then we had another detachment from Iraq, Afghanistan area. This supposedly was the invasion. They were supposed to set up the West Coast so China could send everybody that's hungry from over there over here. Anyway, you got things out there today, and there is some validity to this, to some of it, but only minor, and it's mostly rumor. You got the combination of troops, irrespective as to whether they're American or not, coming after us. That's the woolly booger. That's the boogeyman. Ooh, they gonna come get you. You open your mouth, you're done. All of that stuff. This used to be the case. It hasn't not been happening like it was. All of a sudden, you've got witnesses now that are not dying or having these accidents, or their airplane falls out of the sky suddenly, or whatever. And yet we got these things. Troops ordered to kill us. Well, yeah. Now, you tell me when 90-some% of the troops have stated that they're not going to engage us, let alone shoot at us, what validity does that have, other than to play games with your mind? There's some other ones. You've got certain people who decide that they have an exclusive situation in terms of they understand the law of freedom to the extent that they can withstand anything. A lot of this is freedom philosophy, as it's known. Problem with it is that most of it is not fully explained. The procedures, applications, order of presentation, and things of that nature kind of ain't there. And believe me, if you violate procedure, it don't matter what you're doing. You're done. And they can do a number on you. One of those ways is going after somebody's house just for the fun of it. Deciding not to recognize paperwork that you have copies of that you filed with them with their signature on it. They just sort of accidentally forgot, and now they're going to take your house, and let's say happy stuff. Things of this nature, basic financial retribution. They used to use the IRS a lot, and the idea was to attach your house and freeze all your bank accounts and negate all your credit cards and cause you as much trouble as possible. They found out about that the hard way because they picked on a guy that had some friends who were wealthy, and they were top-of-the-line lawyers. And they stuck a big one in the IRS and broke it off. Believe me, the IRS. Well, I know they'll never mess with that guy again. They're they don't want to ever hear from that man. But you got to realize that this stuff now, if it's not actually happening, it probably won't, because the situation's not getting better for them. It's getting worse. There are little inroads. You hear about it all the time on the regular news, or should. You keep your ear to the ground a little bit, and you'll hear about somebody suing this bank or financial institution, or somebody getting fined real heavy, that sort of thing, all that gobbledygook. And the retribution is coming home to roost. And when I don't know about you guys, but I've seen what happens when birds roost, and it's messy. And I think that's probably the dose that they're getting. Now, I do have some fun and games news. Everybody knows a little bit about the militias. Officers in the militia are tasked with the responsibility for their people, and they're also tasked with to some extent, responsibility for their area. And they do take these things seriously. This is like a career military person or officer. And lo and behold, there was an address made by somebody everybody knows. And I got this report from the California Militia. It seems that Mr. Self-Appointed President Turner screwed up righteously in front of a whole bunch of militia. And everybody in the militias is hearing about it. The people that were there got so mad they got up, threw things, and left. That's how nasty they were about what this idiot did. Now, he's trying to tell them he's their commander. Well, I'm self-appointed president. That means I'm your commander, doy. Well, anyway, there were several thousand there that really got upset. So this is passing through the militia ranks. And so Turner has slammed another door on his fingers, basically. And we get back to the other part. You got a thing called birthers. These are the people that decided that the documentation that was submitted by our present office holder was not correct. And Sheriff Aparo decided to look into it to find out what was going on. And what he found was a national security issue and a severe hole in the wall in terms of letting people into the country. In Hawaii, you have what's called a shall issue, meaning that if there's any kind of validation, they got to give the birth certificate. Now, once you think about that, that is a big hole. If anybody hasn't seen it, it is online. Several people are putting out a couple of the copies or recordings of it that I was able to obtain online today. And yes.
It's on my site. It was one of my news. I was going to say later on. It's on my site. I have the link for people who want to listen to the conference of yesterday.
Excellent. Now you guys know where you can go get a copy.
Okay. Now, excuse me, Drake. I just wanted to let you know that Minuteman has joined us. Welcome, Minuteman.
Good.
Hello, y'all.
Well, good.
Hello,
Rick. Down there, huh?
Yeah, I kind of let the time lapse in my mind, I guess we'll write that off to being 52 years old.
Okay.
Well, you're with us now, and that's what matters. So.
Well, I'd like to add something here real quick. I'm like Sheriff Joe. Where's that microfilm at?
What microfilm?
That microfilm that just doesn't seem to be available to show that that birth certificate that Obama claims is his.
Well, no, I didn't hear about the microfilm so much as I did about that ledger that they had in terms of anybody that went into the delivery room to give birth had to be signed in, and they wouldn't let them look at it.
That was another interesting point. But if you watch real carefully, Sheriff Joe asked, I think like 2 or 3 times, where is the microfilm?
Oh.
You know, there's microfilm on everybody else born there, but for some reason or another, Mr. Obama just seems to be missing.
That might be a hard movie to make for the guy.
You betcha.
My understanding, too, is that we, between Minuteman and I, we've contacted every one of the major militias in the United States, and I'm going to put something together with Minuteman that hopefully will start taking effect. The other thing I wanted to go to was I had a suggestion today from one of our illustrious thinking readers who happens to have their head screwed on straight and is a little too aware, in my opinion. They're a little bit too sharp. They said that I should lead by example and make the first arrest.
Uh-oh.
I'm inclined to agree with that. The only problem is that Rockefeller won't come to our county. He hides down in another one, and that's out of the jurisdiction. So I got to get with my sheriff and figure out whether or not we can go down there and collect his butt.
That's right. I mean, I know a lot of people are saying a lot of things about the announcement. I hear a lot of people being troubled about the FBI, and I'd like to take a minute just to explain why the FBI is included in this.
Go for it.
Whether we like it or not, the FBI are the federal law enforcement agency. They were created to be able to arrest bad politicians doing bad things, like being traitors, abusing their powers, subverting the will of the people, things like this. They must be included. We don't want to have a federal kidnapping charge brought down on us. We're going to include the channels that need to be included, whether we like them or not. It's that simple, folks. That's why the FBI is included. I will remind people that there are patriots even within the FBI. Not every member of the FBI is rotten to the core, folks. I know they've done some things that's, we don't enjoy. And I think that they're starting to realize that, they've made some mistakes in their past, too. 2 years ago, the FBI actually put online a report stating that they was very concerned about civil liberties in the United States being encroached on. Now, a lot of that report seemed to get by a lot of people. It didn't get by me and my wife. We're going to try to hunt that report down again and stick it back out there so people can see. It's going to be 2 years old. And, with some of the stuff that's going on now, we'll encourage the FBI. I'm sure they're listening tonight. Hello, fellas, or ladies and gents. It's time for them to release another report along the same lines. And it's time for them to get busy, which I've noticed they have. A certain mayor, I believe, in New York or the Bronx or somewhere like that. I can't recall it off the top of my head, but, hey, that mayor was caught being dirty, and the FBI went and drug him out. So, goes to show you they're capable of doing good things, too.
Excellent.
Well,
okay.
go ahead.
Drake, if you don't mind, I would like to go ahead and give you the first question of the night. We're not really taking questions just yet, but it kind of falls in line with that. I had, actually, this comes from several listeners, but one in particular, and I promised that this would be the first question of the evening, but let me get this straight. We have gone from sit back, okay, I'm reading this verbatim. We have gone from sit back and watch the fireworks, and then even that the militias would probably not have to do anything unless contacted, and now we're being told that the citizens need to get up and do it ourselves. Something is really wrong with this picture. Why is the military still not doing their job, and what was the point of the nation states filing with the World Court to give our military the standing in order to support the people? It really is bothersome that the people themselves are being told to do something without real instruction, and then they have fears and realizations that were confirmed, that people are saying that the FBI is an organization designed specifically to uphold communist entities.
Well, part of that goes to part of what I'm going to talk about is the next part of this. I'll have the documentation sometime either tonight or tomorrow for sure, and I will post it. The misinformation that you get about the FBI and law enforcement in general is gross. And the reason I say that is because my local sheriff was told to me to be a sneaky mother, and he's into things and this and that, and I thought, oh, okay. So I did some checking on my own. I went around, talked to some people, asked some questions. No, man, he's actually pretty nice. He, kind of overlooks stuff sometimes when you could get in trouble for it. When it's not necessary, you got enough trouble if you wreck your truck. You don't need to be busted because you're drinking a beer at the same time. That sort of thing. They charge you with failure to maintain control. And leave it go at that. It's a form of the old-fashioned justice administered by a law enforcement officer who can see that the guy is not well-to-do enough probably to buy another truck right away, needs to be able to get to work, that sort of thing. He takes that into consideration. That man's been a hard worker, he's been in trouble. No, you don't mess him up worse than what you need to, and failure to maintain control means that you were driving a little too quick for the conditions or something like that. That's sort of an innocent kind of a deal. Gives the guy a break, basically. I've been stopped by state police, and them tags don't go with this, do they? I said, no. You live pretty close to here? He's looking at my driver's license. Yes, sir, right down the street. He said, take that thing home with you and don't drive it until you get placed for it. I said, yes, sir. Sorry, but I had to go make the money for the plates. He said, get out of here. I went home. Pretty simple. No ticket. Just make sure, he's making sure. I'm going to stipulate this real close. You got some law enforcement people, be they FBI or whatever they might be, that are nasty, and I mean just absolutely nasty. They will try to get you to do something wrong so they can use you for target practice. Nasty. So they can break some bones, tear your house up, pick any of the above, and imagine some. The problem, and that problem specifically, is not as prevalent. It's not. You're talking about a 1% or less. Usually these guys are found out one time or another. As soon as they are, everybody starts looking. If they got a bunch of reports of police brutality or, why'd the guy break my arm? I wasn't doing nothing, and that sort of thing, they get rid of them. Now, one of the policies has been, and I'm going to give you a good example of this, to have the guy quit. He can resign. clears him of his charges, he moves out. Okay, in a lot of states, some more corrupt than others, the policy is that they can go to another county and get a job back, kind of thing. And this used to be sort of a standard policy in West Virginia. Well, the Law Enforcement Association, which is an interesting entity here, they've got other ones by different names, usually one in each state, that investigates these things. Investigates officers when the officer has done something somebody questions, to see whether or not something's been done that's wrong. And they started investigating here about 6 years ago. And finally they've gotten the policies and whatnot and procedures and things of that nature changed to a point where if a policeman does something funky, illegal, immoral, whatever, in the state of West Virginia, they got an employment problem in the whole state, not just a little old county or that little bitty burg or wherever it was that they were at, but the whole state, just as it should be. Because when you go interstate and you're a law enforcement officer, you get to have full, absolute records, proof of your time of service, things of that nature, or you may not be hired by the next state. You come up with a bunch of nasty stuff, and they're going to go, yeah, right, next applicant, please. We'll think about it. Don't call us, we'll call you. And they never deal with the guy. This is becoming standard procedure. The same thing's true in the military. That spoils the whole bunch. That it's not something that the military is willing to put up with or tolerate, but it's also something that it can be hard to pinpoint if it's gone about correctly. A lot of these people understand how to circumvent or play games or game the system, and they do that regularly. But this is a very small minority. I want everybody to think about that. So, in terms of where this is leading, I promised some earth-shaking news. And unless Rick's got something to add to what I just said, I'd like to go on with it. Rick?
No, I'm right on the same page with you, Drake. You know, I've met a lot of good law enforcement agents in the FBI, in the county sheriffs, in the state police. Look, folks, they're not all our enemies. I find it hard to believe that, you know, we've got so many people out there that seem to have so much disdain for law enforcement in general that they want to paint everybody in law enforcement as a bad guy right off the get-go. I'll tell anybody, I got a sheriff over here, I guarantee any of y'all meet, you're going to love the man to death. He's about as fair as they get. Our deputies do not harass people that come through town. They are some of the best deputies I've ever met in my life. Look, folks, all law enforcement aren't bad people. And don't let the few taint the many. Those folks lay their lives on the line to try to keep law and order. Some of them don't like doing what they're doing either. Believe me, they don't. I talked to a lot of them. They voiced their concerns to me. And folks, you'd be surprised how many FBI agents has pulled me to the side and say, God bless you, Minuteman, keep doing what you're doing, but, you know, tell them boys in the militia just to keep it professional and keep it straight so, you know, we can be proud of what y'all do, and we would like to see the militia concept come back. They see the value of it, too. So we got patriots everywhere, folks, and if we're not willing to reach across the board and get these people on board with this, which I'm sure a lot of them will. I mean, me and Drake's talked. I can't help to believe that after that announcement Sunday, well, Drake got a flyover, military jet, the way I understand, and they gave him a little wingtip, which is a salute. Folks, I can guarantee you Sunday, we had a lot of people listening, and some of those people were from the FBI and police officers and stuff, and I'll bet you they were like, okay, now we're hearing a plan. And it's a good plan because These people aren't asking for violence. They're not going to go take the law into their own hands. They're going to include all the agencies that they can include to get it done. Now, that's proper, folks. That's the proper way to do things. And that's just the way it is. We got to learn to take our personal feelings and tuck them to the side. Do I like everything I got to do? No, I don't. But I realize this cause is much greater than my likes and dislikes. Now, that's just all there is to that. And, Drake, I think that's about all I got to say about that.
Cool. Sounds good to me. The general public's probably aware, everybody on here is probably aware, that at one point there were liens filed against the Federal Reserve banks. And that case sat there and stewed for a little bit. The judge wanted to dismiss it, but he couldn't. And so Mr. Keenan withdrew the lawsuit. There are several reasons for doing things the way they are done on a legal basis. I'm not going to go into all the particulars. But from what I understand, there's been a combination of refinement of the lawsuit itself and an inclusion of a whole bunch of relatively new, at least to the case, evidence. Now, some of this evidence goes back a few years. Some of it actually shows a combination of things in the present day. One of the things that I discussed with Mr. Keenan and a couple of other people was the procurement of these documents. Most people noted when the first documents were released that they were all the same and they weren't signed. Then we got the signed versions and posted those. In this case, I'm waiting for the final signatures. That's supposed to have been being worked on, and I guess they still are. Now, that may be time-consuming. I don't know what the situation is as of right this minute. Those things were promised that they would be able to be delivered before the show tonight. I was going to post one of them, not all of them, but just one of them, to show that the case had been refiled. I know for a fact that it has, and this is the reason I was granted permission to talk about this. Normally, you do not stipulate things ahead of time. Well, the problem is this. The original liens were not a part of the lawsuit. I want everybody to think about that one. That means that the liens have been in effect. The liens were not only not answered, but they're in default. What that means is that this secondary filing is not only going to bring that up, but also basically close the central banking system. The people in Europe have been going nuts over the past week trying to figure out a way to sidestep, a way to squirrel out, a skinny to get by with, anything they could get their hands on. Problem is, they don't have any way to go. And neither does anybody that has been doing heavy business with the central banking system. It works like this. In order to print money, you have to have collateral for it, period. And the collateral is tied up. It's been closed to these entities. They tried by issuing fraudulent documentation saying that they had this or that gave them the authority to either print more money and or back up monies that they had printed without any permission. A lot of this currency is only honored within the G5 or G20, depending on who's doing what to who and what currency it is. That leaves out all the rest of the nations on the planet. Most of those nations are under what's called the Eastern Alliance, as I refer to it. There's another name for it, which I've done some research on and found to be valid. We'll get into that a little bit later on the website. The main gist of this is that when a judgment's been rendered in terms of a lien by time, in other words, you have a certain amount of time to respond to, say a ticket you get. They schedule you into court. Same thing's true of other legal matters, such as liens against an individual. The enforcement of the lien depends on two things. Qualified defense, where you got a real reason why the lien should not be enforced or is invalid. In this case, they have neither. To go along with this, they had a certain time in which to respond, and they did not respond to the lien itself. The liens, therefore, have put the central bank into default, and that puts them further out of and away from a collateral market of any kind. And I want everybody to understand that. The supposed new lawsuit, it was either filed yesterday or today. I don't know which. And like I said, I did not get the documentation in a timely enough manner to offer it. As soon as I do, it'll go on the website, and everybody will have real, live documentation of what I'm talking about. Everybody seems to want me to validate things. I don't mind doing that on one condition, that it does not jeopardize what we're doing, and I mean any portion of what all is going on, or put any individual in danger. If I were to say one or two names, they'd be dead within just a few minutes. And people don't understand the seriousness of this. And I want each of you to think about that. I get a lot of emails, one way or the other, through Global Voice and other places. Well, how come you can't validate? Well, this keeps coming up, so I'm going to tell you why. I don't validate so that people stay safe. Just that simple. There's a bunch of individuals that I have contact information for, as well as names, addresses, and a whole 9 yards. It ain't going nowhere. You ain't gonna pry it out of me. It ain't gonna happen. When the time is right, then and only then, after people are safe and things are completed to an extent where they can stay that way, will I name names or mention anybody. And I can't help if somebody don't like it. I can't help if somebody says, oh, he's just talking out his whatever. Well, the only problem with all that is that a lot of the things that I have been talking about happened at the time they were mentioned. One of those was the 4th of July incident. You got to look overseas. You have to look in different places sometimes. But here's the thing. Something that happens, wherever it happens, has effects not just where it's at, not just at the point of the incident, but also in a whole bunch of other places and in different ways. Case in point, the liens were not removed. The lawsuit was withdrawn. The liens not removed. They had a certain amount of time to respond, and they have not done so, which puts them in default. The only ruling that can be made in terms of those liens is a judgment for the plaintiff. In this case, it is the collateral accounts. This means that they have to pony up enough of, this is going to blow your mind, enough bullion. That's the only way you can pay it, because that's what the borrowing against is, gold bullion. They got to come up with enough gold bullion, not only to pay back what they have leveraged, borrowed, attached, printed certificates for, or whatever, but they also owe 4% per annum. And I hate to tell everybody, but you take all the gold, even everybody that's got some here in the States, in the shoebox, hid under the bed, wherever it might be, buried in the yard. He'd take all the gold and all the silver that this country's got, and it would not pay the 4%, let alone the principal. And so our corporate government is for real, and I'm notifying you today, busted. They're broke. They do not have what it takes anymore to function on a financial basis. And people need to understand that. And as this other lawsuit hits, then it will be forced. The enforcement is the ability to ever be able to print any further funding. That's, you know, the little greenbacks you keep in your pocket. If they can't print any money, they can't borrow, they can't sell, what do? Usually people in that condition fold up their tent and hope they got enough food to make it to the next spot, and maybe they'll be able to sell a few jugs of fish oil or something. So this is basically the condition they're in. Now there's another part to this, and this is the part that really screws everybody's mind up. They're looking to make a deal. You heard about them wanting to surrender. That I think was put out quite a while ago. They're still negotiating and trying. Some of these people, and these are independent, semi-independent people, are offering some things that basically would be what would happen if the whole banking system vaporized and you started over. That much change within a banking system. Totally transparent, totally honest, and very, very, very low interest rates. In some cases, there's no interest. It's just a distribution of funds. A lot of people are not familiar with that sort of operation, but it's there. The people who have owned the central banking system and made it into a crooked deal are part of the deal. They go, period. They may have extraordinarily minor, itty-bitty holdings, and that's it. They're done. Whatever they have stolen is their severance pay. You already got paid, and whether you can get that money back, I mean, you know, anybody out there, a lawyer, want to sue somebody, that'd keep you busy for a while, but I don't know how much you're going to get paid or if you can get any of the money at all. That's the other part of the question. The monies that have already been liquidated, the gold bullion that's already been shipped to other places, what do you do to return? What do you do to get that back? Well, you can probably play investigator the rest of your life, even if you're a young man, and never get the answer to that. But from the reality point of view, if the things people talk about in this era, and a lot of people have stated it's just rumor. I had it confirmed by somebody who's got a copy of the original Nacera, that not only does the copy exist, but it's in a very safe place. And at the appropriate time, they're going to enter it into evidence. Now, in the original Nacera, you had a 21% tax. Well, tax is a four-letter word. And I talked this over with one of the people that's going to help restructure some things. And basically, what it amounts to is that you don't have to have that. What you have is things like all the roads turn into a toll road equivalent to the number of cars, how much they should pay for the distance they use it. Pretty simple. In some cases, you're not going to be able to pay the whole load, and I'm not sure what they're going to do about that. In some cases, there was a bridge, as an example, a toll bridge in Florida, used to lead to an island, or a chain, part of a chain of islands. And they've been charging tolls on that thing since forever. And a few years ago, back around 1999, they got this great big gear. This thing was a flat bridge, and it rotated sideways. Didn't raise up like a regular drawbridge. Just turned sideways. The gear broke. Well, them gears are expensive. You're talking several $1 million back then. So went to the kitty, and there was like $3.41 in the bank account that was supposed to have all this money from all these tolls for all these years. And the banker went, "Oh my goodness, you're not going to pay a bill like that, not with this money." So several people, to include one manager and some other people, got stripped of their, quote, life savings in order to help fund the gear. They found out that there were transactions in these people's names on that account, so they took what they had to pay back what they could. Some of it was given out in cash bonuses. That's hard to trace, where they just hand you some cash and say thanks. But at any rate, now they've got a special fund. And here's the neat part. It's overseen by the citizens of the island. The bridge authority no longer has a bank account of its own. Bridge authority oversees the operation of the bridge, makes sure that big old gear gets greased, stuff like that. They got a guy that's in the toll booth that makes sure that you pay the toll before you go across, that sort of thing. And that's it. All of the funds outside of what absolute expenses they got is overseen, I want you to think about this, by the citizens of this particular little town on this little island area. And ladies and gentlemen, if somebody wants to put their cold clammy down your pants, I guarantee you're going to take an issue with it unless you're maybe married to them or something. That's a little different. In terms of somebody just outright stealing from you, everybody's going to watch everybody. Everybody's going to make sure everybody else don't do nothing they ain't supposed to do. And everybody's going to make sure that any kind of expenditures are brought forth. And they got a bank account, and it's growing bad. It's growing like leaps and bounds. There's a lot of people go across that bridge. They've had a cost of $5 a month on their account. The bank decided to give them a break because all of their money had been stolen. So, but the bank gets, the interest, there's interest involved in, I got this account and, wow, I can loan money out and da-da-da-da. Well, all that's going to probably come to an end in terms of fractional banking where you get $1 in, you can loan 9 out. That's going to quit. That's going. It's got to. So anyway, Neil Keenan is refiling the suit. And this should cause things to register on a Richter scale in Washington especially, because all of those guys are getting a little cut of some of the things that we pay into the kitty. Denise, I got a question.
Hopefully I got an answer.
You got a cool song to play so we can all take a break?
I do. We'll take a 5-minute break, and I'll speak to you for just a minute when we go to the music there, Drake. We're going to take a couple-minute break and see you all back in just a minute. Let me get my song played here. And thank you all for your patience. And so far the weather's holding out, so we haven't. I don't think we've disconnected anyone just yet. So.
Well, my thunderstorms went past. They didn't do nothing, so.
Mine's on their way.
Yours is on the way?
Oh, yeah.
Welcome back. You're with Denise, and we will have Drake back with us in just a moment. Let me see. Do we still have Minuteman with us? Minuteman, are you still with us?
Yes, ma'am. I'm right here.
Okay. Drake's going to be detained just a couple more minutes. And Lady Dragon, you're still with us. Rick, would you mind answering a couple of quick questions that we had from the chat room? They kind of directly relate to some of what we already covered.
Okay.
First of all,
I'll do my best.
Okay, first of all, the listeners were not happy with the answer that Drake gave to that first question that I gave out. I know it was kind of a lengthy question, and I thought maybe you could elaborate on it, and I will read the question one more time, okay?
Sure.
Okay. It says, okay, we have gone from sit back and watch the fireworks, even that the militias would not have to do anything unless contacted, and now we're being told that the citizens need to do it themselves. Something is really wrong with this picture. Why is the military not doing their job? What was the
can
point?
We stop right there? Can we stop right there for a second? Let's take this in sections.
Certainly.
Folks, it was never, and I'm going to repeat, never the military's job to secure our freedom. Our freedom was to be secured by each of us. And to throw that on the military is very unfair, very unfair. Now, the reason why we're experiencing change-ups from how this first took off is simple, folks. It's real simple. As here again, we're going to talk about the chess game. Now, you got two opponents playing a chess game. Not that this is a game, but we're going to go through the processes of chess. You got two opponents playing a game. One's moving their pawns to defeat the other that sits across from them. Same for the other opponent. He's going to move their pawns to defeat the other opponent. And you know, you can always plan your chess game out in your mind, but that doesn't mean it's going to go down like that. In other words, sometimes when plans are set, especially with something this big, well, as the both sides make their moves, it dictates change on the plans. Now, I'm sure we've got a lot of military folks out there that's listening, and they can verify what I'm telling you right now. They can say, yep, Minuteman's right. They've probably seen that happen to them. If they served in the military, they had to go serve overseas, and some of these conflicts will tell you, yep, Minuteman's right. You know, I've seen several times when we had something planned, we were going to execute it that way, and, well, some other stuff happened that, you know, we knew were probabilities, and we were prepared to make the change, but we realized that our set plan could change. Okay, let's go back to the part where it says, and now we've got to do it on our own. Wrong again. See, here again, that was a presumptuous thought on whoever wrote that. And that's no insult intended to whoever wrote that. I realize they don't understand. So this is why we're going to have this little deal right now, is to hopefully make that person understand and make others understand that may be confused. If you involve everybody the way that it is now, you basically place the burden and the responsibility equally around the board. And you've also protected the civilian populace on their part by involving the correct entities in the law enforcement fields. Here again, what I said earlier, if you don't involve the FBI, you go grab somebody, well, do you want a federal kidnapping charge placed on you? Whether you be right or wrong, that's what will happen. That's the law. Now, we got to really be careful about what we like and what we dislike right now, as far as personal feelings go about any of this. You know, there's parts of it I don't like myself, but there's parts that I do like. But irrelevant of the fact, we got to stick to what's right and what we have to deal with now. That's just the way it is, folks. That's the reality of it. To do anything else would be delusional. To think you're going to go in and arbitrarily just grab some of these people and not involve the correct entities, well, try it. You'll see what I mean. You're going to end up in jail, possibly even dead. So, to protect everybody involved, to put the burden and the responsibility in the correct hands where they need to be, which is really more or less in the people getting together as patriots, connecting with these law enforcement agencies and the military. You guys should remind the military, you know that they're training you guys to go against us, and you know that's wrong. But what we're asking you to do is to think of your family's freedom and liberty and everything that everybody before you that served in the military fought for. Folks, that's going to be a hard jar on them guys. You might actually jar some of these soldiers that might think of obeying a bad order. You might get them to think, especially if you reach out and with some respect and, you know, give them that kind look and say, you know, we really, really are proud that you're in the military, and, man, we really thank you for your service, but, man, we don't want you ever to move against the people either. That would just be wrong. And make sure that you tell them that, look, you know, we as people are going to gather patriots up, and we're going to demand that these traitors be arrested real soon. And when we see that the FBI and some of the others are starting to realize the call, realize the numbers involved behind the call, folks, how can the FBI or any of these agencies say no to 100 to 150 million patriot Americans in America? How can they do that? How can they tell them no? If they do, well, that pretty well tells us where they're at now, don't it? Pretty well tells us that, well, maybe they wasn't so patriotic at all, but I don't think we're going to see that. I don't think that's the case. Now, some of us have had to deal with some of these people that we're talking about. And I can tell anybody, you serve 21 years in the militia and you become well known as I have, I don't care who you think you are, you're going to deal with the FBI, whether you like it or not, especially if you develop a website that you got yankees coming in and threatening to kill people and things like that. Believe me, they're going to contact you, say, hey, Bubba, what's up with this? And I'll tell anybody out there, I've yet to meet an FBI agent that has disrespected me in any way. I've yet to meet a law enforcement person out there that realized who I was that disrespected me in any way. Matter of fact, I got treated with the utmost respect. But that's because they're learning who I am and what my message is. They know I don't want violence. They know I only want what America's supposed to be. And they can agree with that. So, we got an agreement on that, folks. I want you to think about numbers. All these people that claim to be patriots running around out there, concerned about the nation, concerned about freedom and liberty, concerned about the destruction of our constitutional way of life, all these concerns running around out there, bringing them to one plate, to one table, for one time, just long enough to address the FBI, to address the sheriffs, to address the state police, to address military personnel in all branches of our military, and say, look, we love our country. We're not going to let you take our freedom and liberty. We're not going to let them do that no more. This thing you got to end now. And we need you guys to help us now. Not next year, but now. I can't think of, I'll tell you what, folks, I'll bet you if you've got 100 police officers in a room right now, along with 100 FBI agents in the same room, and you was to go in and ask them, do you think it's proper that we disarm America? That they infringe on our Second Amendment rights? I'll bet you anything you'll be lucky to hear one or two people stand up and say, well, yes, I think that's the proper thing to do. I can guarantee you most police officers and most FBI agents will say, no, that's dead wrong. I've talked with some of these folks, people, and I'm telling you, there's more patriots in these agencies than what you're giving them credit for. And until you shake off that fear of addressing it in a polite, mannerly way, sticking to the facts of freedom and liberty, how our rights are being treaded down? Well, if your fear is going to keep you back, folks, then you really need to examine your patriotism. You really do. Because,
thank you, Rick.
you know, there ain't nothing I can think of that's greater than our freedom and liberty, because if we don't look at it that way, then what do our children have? Are we willing to let them live in chains? Because, folks, that's what's coming. If you don't learn to get over that fear and learn to stand up, put your arguments away, put them away for just long enough to get past this. Look, you can always take the argument up afterward if you still feel like you got an argument. But, you know, if something's been laid out, a rough draft's been laid out here that gives us a chance to get something done for once. It's better than a march on Washington.
Right.
We've seen how effective those are.
Yeah, really. Drake's back with us, and just one last little thing, Rick. While you were answering the question, and I'm sure that should have adequately answered the question for our chat room and our listeners. There was one other statement, and I think I know where this comes from, but they want you to address it, and that is, people are saying that they've heard that Minuteman is an FBI informant. Could you please address this?
You betcha I would. Look, folks, you're going to have all kinds of what you call rumors and rhetoric running around on the Internet, you know. Like former White Hat, I can guarantee he's gotten up with a few other people we can name too, like Deborah Swan and E-Dogs 818. Folks, these people are delusional. If anybody really feels like I'm an FBI informant, hey, come and visit me. That'll take care of that.
Thank you, Rick. And Drake is back with us, and welcome back, Drake.
Thank you. Seems that there's been some misinformation a little bit. We got a man by the name of Aaron who has talked to the lawyer who is handling the legalities directly. Apparently Neil Keenan misinformed me as to some of the portions of the lawsuit itself. And is Aaron available?
Aaron,
I'm here.
You are live.
I'd like to hear what your take is on the difference, because I want the people to know the truth. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong.
Okay, my name's Aaron. I'm from Going On Radio. I've been in Alt Media a couple years, and I have a different kind of style than you guys. But it's more, I kind of like get into the details and stuff like that. And so anyways, I've had Benjamin Fulford on my show. We talked about this before. And so I contacted the lawyer who actually filed the lawsuit for Keenan. Okay, so and I asked him for the details. And here's what actually happened with the lawsuit. The judge looked at it and said to the lawyer, hey, I think we have jurisdictional problems with your lawsuit. I'm just giving you my opinion, but, I have that right, and I'm going to give you my opinion on this. The lawyer read that as, wait a minute, back up here, and decided to withdraw the case himself without prejudice so he could refile it again once he gets over the jurisdictional questions. And the question here is subject matter jurisdiction. It's a jurisdictional problem because Keenan and the defendants have to be litigated in the proper arena respective to them. And so it's the first thing a defending lawyer would bring up would be, we dismiss, Your Honor, because jurisdictional. And there's like universal jurisdiction, personal jurisdiction, diversity of venue, or subject matter jurisdiction, all kinds of jurisdictions. The first thing that would come up to throw it out. He didn't want to hazard that because it could have been dismissed with prejudice, which means he'd have a heck of a time refiling it again. So that's a gamble for him, and that's what the judge is basically doing. He says, hey, you're gambling here a little bit here, Just think I'd let you know that. It was a nice, the judge was being nice. So the idea that there was an attack by some outside forces, or the judge had a problem and was coming down on him, or any of these other kind of stuff is pure hogwash. I just want to tell you that. And as far as refiling it, I've sent an email over to the lawyer and asked him, did you refile it? Because my sense of talking to the guy was that this jurisdiction matter is going to take a while to figure out how to resolve properly. And just also let you know that no one has been served. None of the defendants that we all have been, named Bernanke and Soros or whoever else is in here, none of them have been served yet. So we're right at we're still at the way beginning of the lawsuit. So just, these are some of the actual facts from the horse's mouth, so to speak. Hello?
I appreciate that. Neil did mention to me that there might be a jurisdictional issue, but he didn't go into it. And I have not been in contact with a lawyer, but I would love to. If the people need to know what's going on, they need the truth. And if I've made mistakes, you guys got my apology right now. If there's some difference in fact that I can bring forward, I definitely will. And it'll be on my website and or one of the shows. So far, everything that I've stated has come from the principals. At least I thought so. Now, apparently Neil, and he told me he wasn't a lawyer, he might have messed up something in terms of what he told me.
No, it's very complicated.
Well, I know it's not something simple that you do, but if you would, Aaron, contact me through Global Voice. I don't want to give out my email on air. I get too many emails as it is.
Aaron,
I'll make direct contact.
Excuse me, Aaron, I will be happy
with you.
To get it.
Say it again, Denise.
Okay, I was just going to say, when we stop the call, I will get contact information from Aaron to get directly to you, Drake.
Thank you.
Okay.
Hey, can I add a couple more things? Can I please?
Hold on a second, Aaron. Right. What I'd like to do is work in conjunction with you in terms of finding out what all the facts pertinent are, if that's okay.
All right.
Okay. Now, what were you gonna? Hopefully you won't make me look like too much of an idiot again.
No. Again, I see what you're saying. The analogy I came up with is if you say your sink is broken, you hire the plumber. The plumber comes over, and he makes an assessment of the problem. Now you, as a layman, you say, hey, you got your sinks busted, and you go to the homeowner, hey, what's wrong with your sink? And, maybe it's a housewife, she doesn't know nothing about sinks or nothing, and she tries to tell you what's wrong with it. You're like, that sounds kind of fishy. So you ask the plumber. And now you know what's wrong from the expert on plumbing. That's what happened here. You don't ask the customer of the lawyer. You ask the lawyer what's up with the lawsuit, and then you'll get technical stuff like subject matter jurisdiction. And then, you're like, what the heck is that? And how does it apply? And da-da-da-da-da-da. And it's like, bores everybody. Okay, but it's the reality that has to be dealt with if you want to go forward with this thing. And this is the most important thing. This is a real thing in the real world that could actually hold real people to justice, not all this other hyperbole that's running around out there. So that's why I focused in on it, and I wanted to know dial it in, know the details from the horse's mouth, and I got it. But I just want to point out a couple more things here. This idea that some had speculated in the alternative media, I'll just put it that way, some, that a strong attack was mounted against the lawsuit. Untrue, totally fabricated. And also that the lawsuit forms the legal grounds for mass arrests. This is also something that was put out in the alternative media by certain parties, which will remain nameless, that is also totally untrue. This is a civil matter, not criminal, and certainly the Southern District has no jurisdiction to put people in jail, even if they could get a judgment 10 years down the road or something like that. So that's just way off the mark as well. I just have to add that in there. I'm sorry, people, it's not as fun and juicy as you want it to be. It's very cold and dry and procedural at this point.
Thank you, Aaron.
Okay.
Interesting. Now we've been set straight on the legalities. That's great information as far as I'm concerned. At least it clears the air and lets me off the hook in some respects that I didn't talk to enough of the part of the principal to get what was going on. So from now on, any legalities that come from me will come stated from the lawyer. That way we don't have that problem. Now, Aaron, I don't know if you're still listening, are you?
He's still live.
Okay. Supposedly, I was supposed to get signed documentation of the some form of refiling, whether that was a demand for the liens to be honored or what, I don't know. And I was supposed to get that today, supposedly before this show. And that did not happen. However, supposedly it's supposed to come about either tonight or tomorrow. So that's why you get me some in with the lawyer in terms of us, maybe talking about it together. I have been involved in legalism of different types before, and I understand what you're talking about in terms of the technical jargon a little bit. So it might not hurt if somebody with a little bit of knowledge was able to maybe even ask an intelligent question or two of the lawyer. So, in that light, I would like to, like I say, get our information together so that, we might even do a co-show, simulcast or something. Maybe even be able to bring things to light that will help the whole situation. I don't know. But as soon as I get that, you're going to give Denise your contact information. I'll send you a copy of the liens that I get.
Okay, that sounds good, because I don't know that portion of it. I only know about the law.
This is a part that was only just alluded to yesterday for the first time in a phone call, because I was talking to Neil, and he stated that the banks were in default. And I said, well, I thought you withdrew the lawsuit. He said, we did, but that's not part of the liens. I said, really? He said, oh, yeah. And then he kind of giggled, and I said, dude, you're supposed to explain things to this dummy on this end of the phone so that I can go and talk to somebody who doesn't have any experience with law at all and let them know what's going on. So apparently the liens are still in effect, and apparently the time that they had to answer them or address them has expired, which puts them in a position of default. Now, what that means, I got no idea, and that's one of the other reasons I would like to ask the questions of the lawyer. So that's basically where this is at this point.
Okay. Aaron, if you'll just hold on, I'll be right with you to get your contact information, and you and Drake can continue this discussion when we get off air. If you would. In all fairness to our listeners, we have tons of questions that are waiting. Thank you, Aaron. Thank you very much, and I'll be right with you in just a moment to get your information. Okay. Thank you, Drake, for doing that. Okay, let's see. Do we want to go ahead and take a couple more callers or a couple questions from the chat room? Or did you not get a break, Drake? And do you want to take a break? And while I ask a couple questions that were for Minuteman, and
well, we could take like a 5-minute break. Now that we got the air cleared, you got some songs to play, I'm sure.
Well, yeah, or I could go ahead. Minuteman and all, we took a break while you were on the phone with that gentleman. So if you wanted to take a break, I was just going to offer for you to go ahead and take a break, and we'll ask a couple more questions, and you can take a break. Okay,
why don't you turn me off, and I'll take a break?
Okay, you do that, Drake, and I'll ask a couple questions of Minuteman.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Let's
go. All right. And thank you, audience, for your patience in us getting these little things taken care of here. Okay. Okay. How about this, Minuteman? Can you answer, with Sheriff Joe's findings, why isn't someone making the move to remove the fraud and proven foreign agent Obama from office right away?
I wish I could answer that question. That would be a question for Sheriff Joe. From what I understand, they did prove that the birth certificate is a fake, but as Sheriff Joe's detective pointed out, they don't know who created the document, why. He even admitted that, well, maybe Mr. Obama thought it was his real birth certificate. A lot of unanswered questions there, folks, and I think the missing microfilm is also another key to the puzzle. So until some of this stuff is hashed out, the only thing we have right now is, well, okay, it's fake, and that's it.
Okay. Well, here's another loaded question, and this one's going to take you a minute to answer, so I can go ahead and get this contact information from our other, from Aaron. Okay, Minuteman. Mass arrests were supposed to be by whom, as Drake had stated before. The story was we were all to wait for the green light and then do everything we could to make the green light go viral when called. Be available to assist our local sheriffs and federal marshals, and then what else? The mass arrests were supposed to be by who? Were they always supposed to be by, you know, by the people, or were they? That's what
it was supposed to really have gone along the lines of which it was laid out Sunday. The military, let me explain something. If the military was to just bust out and start arresting everybody involved, we would declare that a military coup. Folks, that's against our Constitution. Now, the people have always retained the power according to our Constitution, and that's what we gotta remember. In other words, it's our responsibility. Now, after we've deemed that, okay, there's a problem, and, well, our Constitution is being overthrown, our way of life is being taken from us, our freedoms and liberties are being shredded down. It was always up to the people to make the right moves, to make the right contacts, to try to switch that around. Okay, it used to be through vote, okay? But we all see that they've done a real good job of thwarting that effort too. They're only going to let so many candidates, the kind that they like, get up in there, and, well, any of these other candidates that would do a good job just get shot down. And, well, they always seem to guide the mass public back over to who they want by shooting these candidates down, even though it take Ron Paul. Now, you ain't going to tell me that with 90% of the military backing Ron Paul, and if you go look at the videos and stuff of the places where Ron Paul went, he just packed them in. Now, you show me where any of them other candidates do that. They don't. Not even Barack Obama gets that done. So that should be telling us a lot right there, folks, that they're stacking the deck on the candidates we vote for. That's pretty well proven fact. And they've done that purposely, knowing that when you find out, you're going to give up and say, I ain't voting no more. That does what? The less and less vote, folks, well, the easier it is to place people in power. Start appointing people to rule over you. And that's what they're hoping for eventually. That, well, we'll all just quit voting. They won't have to worry about that pesky stuff no more and keep stacking the deck on us. Then they can just get in there who they want in there, when they want in there, to do what exactly they want done, as far as the civilian populace goes. So don't give up your vote, folks. Go vote anyway. I tell folks, go vote for Mickey Mouse. That's what you got to do. Yeah.
That was another question, actually. They were like, will the government and banks be stopped before the election? Do you
That's up to us, folks. Are we going to drive this thing out there and say, hey, patriots, you say you love your nation? Well, it's a little more than just getting on a computer and shouting about it. You got to get out there and get busy. Like if I was a federal informant, let's just take this for instance. Folks, if I was a federal informant or bad person to the patriot community, I'd be trying to get you all to do something bad, get yourselves in trouble. I want you all to think about that. That's how stupid some of those rumors are. If you go back through my history, you'll see where I've always been a builder, trying to keep patriots safe, trying to keep them out of trouble, trying to guide them to do the right things, not the wrong things. And yes, I do have contacts with the FBI and stuff, folks. That's just the way life is for me. That does not make me an informant. I'll tell anybody out there this. I swore an oath to defend this nation, its Constitution, and its people. I swore that oath 21 years ago. And if I see somebody out there that was going to commit an atrocity that would hurt people, if you don't think I wouldn't call the FBI to stop you, you're crazy. I will. I'm not going to let innocent people get hurt because of somebody's misconception of, well, I'm going to go bomb something in order to make my point. I want to remind people, you know, in Oklahoma City bombing, there was some children in a nursery. Some of them children died. For somebody to make a statement according to the way that story's told, you think that's proper? I don't. I don't think that's proper. I think every one of them children had the right to live a good life. Now, whoever's guilty on the Oklahoma City incident, it's kind of irrelevant to the fact that those kids died. They murdered them children to make a point. Either way that story goes, if you think about it, whether the government did it or Timothy McVeigh did it, the children still died. That ain't right. I'm a true militiaman, folks. So I'm going to be going through the correct channels to guide people the best way I can to get my country back. Now, we've got this rough plan drawn, and it's going to get a little more technical as it goes. So why the is to get you all to realize that, okay, we've got a legal, safe way to gather patriots up to the call of freedom and liberty and demand these traitors arrest. I don't see where that's ever been done, folks. So you can be as skeptical as you want, but that's not to be skeptic. Until you've tried and failed, then why don't you give it a whirl? I'd be surprised where it goes. Is there anything else, Denise?
No, but Drake has returned from his break. Welcome back, Drake.
Thank you. Feels better now.
Feel better now? Okay.
Yeah.
And I did get contact information for you. I'll get that to you just as soon as possible. Okay. Shall we take more callers, or shall we?
Callers is fine with me.
Okay.
Rumors, whatever you want to do.
We have several questions. Let's try to get through these questions like pronto. They're not hard ones. Okay, let's see. Important question for Drake. At what point in your life were you contacted by the military?
My first contact with the military was when I was about 6.
6 years old. Okay. All right. I think you had answered that before, but okay.
I have.
Okay. You have mentioned corporate America, Drake. Most Americans believe that we are a republic. How and when did this change and it turn into a corporation? And how was it that most people still don't know this?
Well, first of all, it's hidden rather well in some ways. What you have to look at to show corporate governance is simply your small town is incorporated. The reason for incorporation is a legal defense. The reason to have a corporation is so that the corporation itself as an entity is held responsible, whereas the individuals of that corporation may not be in a lot of cases. And this is basically the ideology of a corporation in terms of that.
Okay, and when did that change?
To be honest with you, off the top of my head, I cannot remember the date, but it's been, from what I understand, in the 1890s or early 1900s when we incorporated.
Yeah, didn't it come like with the 14th Amendment? 14th Amendment.
That's the basis of it. Yes.
Okay. All right. Let's see. We got that one. Drake. Let's see. What is this? Something. The Fed stated, Govt stated some dead on both sides in gun battles in several states as hundreds of cabals were arrested. Oh, Galactic Federation stated that there were some dead on both sides in gun battles in several states as hundreds of cabal were arrested. Can you confirm or deny?
I put it right back on the Galactic Federation of Light contact that said so and asked for names, and I didn't get any. And I said, okay, well, supposedly you absconded with some people, and yet you can't show that they're gone. And the people, I put it like this, the people, including myself, would like validation. So I cannot say, yes, it happened, because I have nothing at all, either from the Galactic Federation of Light or anything else, saying that it did.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure I would have been contacted on that one as well.
I'm pretty sure. Okay, let's see. Okay, I think this one has been asked before, but people might have missed it. How will we know, or how are we going to deal with black ops members, and how can they be identified?
Okay, well, it depends on what type of black ops person or personnel it is. Some black ops people will never be known as black ops people. Some people will be easily identified, and others will be attempting to disappear for some of the things that they've done they know they shouldn't have done, that they did anyway because of the situation they were in. And that's basically how that goes. Black ops means that they take, just like there was a movie called Eraser, and that is where you change dental records and erase social security numbers and make people disappear. People who do not have fingerprints are people to keep an eye on. And if you watch somebody's hands a little bit, you'll see it. Instead of having the tone to it that a normal finger would have on the underside, it'll look more like scar tissue. So that's one way to identify a black ops individual. And I don't think anybody's really going to know, to be honest with you. How do we handle them? The best way in the world to handle the whole of it, to include corporation, to include the misdeeds, whatever criminal activities and all that, is to bring it out in the light. And the individuals that are attached to whatever it is you're doing. And the stuff that they did, when you do their laundry in public, takes care of that problem permanently. Okay?
Okay. And Drake, there were several other questions regarding the Keenan and the liens and the this and the that, but I think I'm going to set those questions aside, and we may dedicate a whole program to the questions and stuff that are surrounding that.
Well, what I would like to do, first of all, I'm going to try to get with Aaron and find out as much of the particular specific information that I can in terms of the things he was talking about. Then I'm going to translate it from legalese to regular people speak so everybody can understand what's happening.
Right.
Somebody wants to get technical, I'm going to try to put together 2 posts. One is to the people. This one's to the legal staff that wants to know the particulars. And we'll make a double, a 2-page or split-page posting of one that says what it is and the other one, you know, this, that, 1923, and et cetera. Okay?
Okay.
Take care.
All right. Let's go to some calls. Okay, we have Jack from Ohio. Jack, you are live with Drake.
Yes, thank you, fellas. Everybody that's on this call helping us all out. My first question is, well, the first thing, I wonder if we can speak to Lady Dragon, and I think you might address that with she called this morning, tonight, to have her slow down a little bit so we can understand her. Second, yeah, I mean, it's pretty tough.
I think she's doing a lot better, folks.
I do too.
I just like to see her slow down so we can understand her. The second one is that maybe you guys would like to get everything on Eastern Standard Time instead of switching back to Central Time and Eastern Time. In other words, have your time set on one time or the other.
It's computer generated, I'm afraid, Jack, and when I set up the program on Blog Talk Radio, because I'm in the Central Time Zone, it registers it as Central Time Zone, and I do apologize. I misspoke myself the other night when we had the program on Monday, because we did have to schedule it for an hour later than normal on Monday, and I said we'll be here at the same time on Wednesday, but it's always at 7 p.m. Eastern on Wednesdays, and it is at 1 p.m. Eastern on Sundays.
Yeah, I understand that, yeah.
Okay, so...
but on the website, it's at 6 o'clock Eastern Standard Time here. I mean, Central Time, sorry.
Okay, yeah. Okay. I apologize. We'll try to make sure that we get that the same. We'll be consistent with that. Thank you, Jack. Yeah. Appreciate it.
One other question.
Oh, hang on.
I'm sorry,
there? Jack. I'm still here. Thank you, Jack. Sorry.
All right. We're talking about these bankers and all these judges and everything. So ain't we getting taxed on the inside and outside both? And wouldn't that be why wouldn't the military do step in? If it was attacked out by any other country, would be the military would be there. So we're getting taxed. Otherwise, why wouldn't they step in?
My understanding is that they will. And one of the things that I understood that they had to wait and see because of the rat patrol problem they had was what the people were willing to do in terms of taking the matters into their hands and dealing with it correctly. My last supposed insider news on the military was that some 75% were on our side fully. So you've got maybe another 10, 20%, give or take, in there that would be willing to follow along because they understand the quality of the leadership that are there. So my suggestion is that, yes, the military will at one point be a part of what we're trying to do. That time is not yet, and I have to find out particulars about some other things. There's two questions I got to find out about, and then I have to go through channels and find out another question before I can actually give a comprehensive answer as to the basics of what and possibly when. And any kind of possibility of when, I was supposed to have documentation today that's never showed up, which does not put me in an extremely good mood with all this. So
sure.
everybody's having to get to sit around and watch, and I really don't like that.
Sure need them on board, and I'd sure, if any of the militaries listen, I'd say, help us out. We got a problem.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Got another caller, Denise?
I do. Yes, I would like to remind our callers too. Once your question has been answered, would you please hit the number 1 on your keypad to lower your hand so that I know that we've already covered your call. I would appreciate that. We have Carrie from California. Carrie, you are live.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Drake. Hi, Minuteman. Hi, Lady Dragon.
Hello.
Hi, Carrie.
Hi. Minuteman, I got through to Tony Burke.
Good deal.
I got through to Tony Burke, and this is to all other fellow Patriot Americans. I signed up for the California Militia today.
Congratulations.
Oh, bless your heart. Congratulations.
I did.
That's good news, Carrie.
Good crew. That's a really good crew that you're getting yourself involved with. You'll be in good hands. Tony Burke, Sergeant Gonzalez are two very fine patriots, even doing things right. And, well, I'm very happy for you. And anybody else from California that's wanting to get into the militia, well, now you know where to go.
Okay. Thank you. And Minuteman, take 2 steps to the right or left because you're fading a little bit again.
All right. How's that?
That's better. Okay. Carrie, did you have a question?
Yes, I do have a question.
Okay.
I read a report today, and it was a little scary, and I just want to know if they can, Drake or Minuteman can confirm or deny that it's the UN Small Arms Treaty, that the UN troops have been ordered to kill any and all Americans that do not surrender firearms. Is this true, or is this just a rumor?
I haven't been able to confirm it yet. Drake, do you got anything on that?
I'm going to say this again for anybody that missed it. NATO is to put out, that's North America Treaty Organization, has put out, is putting together and is implementing a huge disinformation campaign that includes troops ordered to kill us, etc. Now, what I want everybody to think about is where the UN gets their troops. Number 2, I want you to notice if anybody has large amounts of fully equipped troops from some foreign country that nobody knows how to speak the language of, getting off of a cruise ship or something. If you don't see such things, then you're looking at something that is designed to shake the bush so the snake comes out from fear. I call this fear porn. Most of these things are designed in terms of rumor to get us to act out and do things we're not supposed to do. So,
right.
Something to bear in mind. And I'm going to tell you right now, you can put out all the orders you want. If 75% of the military is with us, what's the other 25% going to do? Guard the latrine? I mean, there's not enough of them to come after us. So I would suggest that it's bogus.
Okay, I appreciate it. I did send you, Denise, I did send an email to you for Drake, and I don't know, I guess you must get a lot of emails, so maybe you haven't gotten to it yet.
I answer every email I had today.
What's the email again? Through the.
Okay, it is One Free People. That's ONEFREE people @gmail.com. And I have to apologize to everyone. I'm kind of a one-woman show right now. And I'm answering the emails. I'm taking care of the Facebook page. I'm taking care of the website. Doing the radio show, and I've got some wonderful people who are stepping up to help me. And I will be honest with you.
You need some volunteers for help, Denise.
Yeah, I've got volunteers that are stepping up, and I'm going to need more volunteers. I would apologize. I am getting to those things as soon as I can. It's unfortunate I haven't even had the time to speak to the volunteers to stop long enough. But we're going to get it all together here, and I apologize. I will go and check the email immediately following the program, Carrie, and forward anything that I.
You're here, Denise, if you need one. Because I'm very computer savvy.
Thank you so very much.
I just would like to put out a message to Firehawk that I'll give you my email, Denise, that I do make the best doggone chocolate chip cookie, and I'll make them for anybody who wants them.
Chocolate cookies
Firehawk's going to really appreciate that.
Okay, Carrie, again, thank you. Thank you so much.
Right.
Congratulations.
God bless all of you, and everybody have a good night. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Carrie. Thank you. Okay, let's see. We have if my button will unlock here. Okay, we have Grammy J.
Oh, yeah, you do.
Hello, Grammy
Welcome,
J.
Grammy J.
Hello, everybody, and I love you.
We love you too, Grammy J.
Well, Drake just gave me the perfect segue to a comment I would like to make. He was talking about disinfo. Not only do we need to understand that the octopus, as I call them, because they've spread their evil tentacles all over our world, are spreading disinfo purposely, called fear porn, as Drake so well stated it. We have people that work for them and are paid for them and are paid to spread disinformation about patriots that are trying to spread the truth as well. And I'm not going to name names, but there's at least one person that we're all very familiar with who has too much free time on his hands, or her hands. I don't know if it's a male or female. Maybe it's paid time. I don't know. But I cannot believe some of the horrendous things and lies that are told about people just to try to get people to stop listening to them. And that's exactly what the octopus wants to do. And I would like to say something one more time. Drake and all of his loyal supporters from day one, including me, have stated, we are nothing but one small piece of a big puzzle. Each and every one of you out there that are fighting for freedom or supporting anyone in any way that is fighting for our freedom is part of the big picture. We are nothing. We are just a grain of sand on a beach I call God, an endless beach. We must all work together and stop listening to all this crap about other people. And I love all of you very much. And I know that my brothers and sisters in Drake and Company are being lied about every day. I've been called gullible by one of those people. Mr. Whitehat, for example, told me that I'm gullible as hell. Well, you know what? I think that freak has too much free time on his hands, or maybe too much paid time. I don't know. But he's the one that needs to get a life. And I have nothing more to say.
Thank you, Grammy J. Very well said.
Thank you, Grammy. Okay, let's see. We have Marilyn from San Francisco. Marilyn, you are live with Drake and Minuteman and Lady Dragon.
Oh, hi, everybody. Thank you. First of all, I have a question for Minuteman and then a comment or confirmation for Drake. Minuteman, you had mentioned the other day about Tony Burke, and I've been part of the California Militia, I think a month or two now, and I can't seem to find anybody in San Francisco Bay Area. I'm on the coastal side of San Francisco, down the peninsula on the coastal region, and would you happen to know if that Sergeant Gonzalez is in this area or Northern California? Because I couldn't find him anywhere on the when I did a search. Or do you know of anybody else to contact for this area? Because I feel like I'm all by myself.
Well, ma'am, are you part of RAM, the Well-Regulated American Militias?
Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, then you should go join the California State Militia Group. You'll find Mr. Burke, Sergeant Gonzalez, and quite a few of the other members of the California State Militia, and they are pretty well all over the state. So I believe they would be able to help you better by going straight to them.
Okay.
And be patient because, you know, that unit is building extremely quick. RAM's helping them right along. We're trying to send everybody to them fellas because we know that they're a professionalized militia group.
Okay.
And they're not going to get nobody in trouble, anything like that, and they're gentlemen. They really are.
Great.
I'm very honored to have them with us on RAM and to help them out.
Okay. And then the comment or confirmation for Drake. Drake, in the beginning of the call, you mentioned about an organization that was offering $100,000 reward, and I know what you're talking about. I've been with that organization for several years, and I just wanted to say they have impeccable integrity. It's taken them 7.5 years to go through the maze of the fraud because everything's so compartmentalized, and they never gave up, and they succeeded. And so anybody who's interested, it's called a bank fraud conversion. So anybody who's interested in that to get a hold of Drake, because I just wanted to put out my kudos of the impeccability of their integrity for that organization. Okay?
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you, Marilyn. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Okay. Let's see. We have Wyatt from New York. Wyatt, you are live.
Hello, Drake.
Yeah.
Everybody, Minuteman, I'm really listening to you since you started, and I'm really love what you're doing. I got a different take here on the Obama deal. I've been doing a lot of research on him, and through online and stuff, and through people like the journalist Alfred Weber, who's ex-politics in BC, Canada, and I'm finding that, first of all, you know, he was born, his mother was an American citizen, but his father wasn't, and so that automatically makes him be not a natural-born citizen. And then when his mother remarried to Barack Obama Sr., who was an Indonesian citizen, and he adopted and changed the name to Barack Obama Jr., and he later came to America as a foreign exchange student. And when he went to college, he was a foreign exchange student, and there's no records of him ever applying for citizenship in the U.S. And the Constitution states that the president has to have American parents. He could be born anywhere, but his parents have to be a natural-born citizen. His parents would have to be American citizens, and his mother was, but his father wasn't, whether he was born in Kenya or Canada or wherever. Have you heard this before?
Absolutely.
And that just automatically makes him be not eligible to be president.
That's right. Now, the problem with it is that you don't want to impeach the man, because then that gives validity to him holding the office. What you want to do is remove him for other causes.
Right, for the fraud.
And that is
I heard that, yeah.
Everybody's dealing with.
But I didn't know if this would give anybody another way of going about that. Just the fact that he could not be president anyway.
Nobody will entertain that idea, and supposedly it's been ruled in court that the documentation that he's provided is correct. Now, Sheriff Arpaio basically showed that it was not, and that they refused to validate. And I don't know how long it's going to take to find out exactly. My suggestion is that we remove the man for other causes, because it's probably going to be easier.
Right.
Okay?
Okay. I also, I'm in upstate New York, and I'm trying to get hold of somebody in the militia. I've been busy. I haven't been on the computer much to do stuff, but I am trying to hook up with some people up here. I started the forum on the original Freedom Reigns for New York and stuff, but I haven't come across any militiamen or anybody. Any help I can get with that?
Wyatt, you should go to Rick Light's Minuteman site, and that is RAM site, WRAMSITE.com.
.com. Okay, thank you.
Okay, that's well regulated. How did we say that, Rick?
Well regulated American militias.
Okay, there we go.
I wanted to add, that site is growing at a tremendous speed. We actually took on 100 members today.
That's great. I'm a musician and a songwriter, and I've done a few songs. I've been doing a lot of like Dylan, changes and songs like this, and and I'm trying to put out some of what I know through my music, because it seems to be something people listen to rather than lecturing.
Well, you can share that with us.
Volunteer, help any way I can with anything that's going on.
Thank you, Wyatt. And if anyone else is interested in volunteering, if you have help that you can offer us, would you please email us at onefreepeople, that's ONEFREE people, @gmail.com. And our members and listeners have been very kind and very patient and very generous, and I would like to thank everyone. I know how everyone is wanting to get involved, and this is one way that you can help and get involved. So thank you all very much for that. And thank you for your call, Wyatt. Okay. This caller has called in before, and I know I'm going to massacre the name. Uctena in New Mexico.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
My name
Hello.
My name is Uctena. That's what I'm called, and I live in New Mexico, the state where you don't have to have licensed firearms. If you have a concealed weapon, you have to be licensed. That's it. Drake, and Lady Dragon, and Rick, I'd like to just make a few comments, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. First of all, I'd like to just say, just to let everybody know, there's some dirty tricks going on. And every time this show comes on, within minutes, my computer freezes up. I can leave the site for the radio station and go anywhere else, but I can't hear the radio on my computer. So then I go onto the telephone to hear it, and I lose the telephone 3 or 4 times during the radio show. This doesn't happen with anyone else except y'all. Now, I think that's a little strange. The other thing I wanted to say is that I like Ben Fulford, and I'm a subscriber there to his blog. And about a week ago, I got you pay $8 a month through PayPal. And about a week ago, I got a thing from PayPal saying that Ben's site wouldn't take payments anymore. So I emailed Ben and I told him, and he's like, "What? I'll look into that." And so, I got another one from PayPal, and I called them and I said, "I don't know what's going on." And then today, I cannot get on Ben Fulford's site. I got a thing saying, "You've been canceled." And this has happened to quite a number of other people on his site. So there's funny tricks going on here, and people who are getting the truth out. So I wanted to tell you that. And then I also wanted to tell you, the other day I was in a professional office, and there was a bunch of people sitting in the waiting room, and I've always had a mouth. I've been a political dissident since John F. Kennedy was assassinated, and I was 15 years old, and I knew something was wrong somewhere. Well, I'm sitting in this office the other day, and I'm talking about you and you two, Minuteman, and I'm talking about the militias, and I'm talking about, I may be 65 years old, but I'm in good shape, and nobody's taken me to a FEMA camp without a fight. And so I'm saying all this stuff in the office, and, people are sitting there, "Oh, yeah," and I'm talking about the Constitution. And I said, and when things get tough, I'm there. And some woman leaned over to me, and she goes, "That guy over there is a state cop." And I looked, and I said, "You're a state cop?" And he said, "Yeah." I said, "Oh, I guess I said too much." And he laughed, and he said, "No, I'll be there with you." And I said, "Arresting me?" And he goes, "No, protecting the Constitution in this country." So I just thought, all right, that just made me feel really good, because I've just been doing this kind of stuff for a long time, and I've paid some prices for it. I've just paid some prices for it. I had one last message that I'd like to give to the military and law enforcement because I know y'all are listening. My dad, I've already said this before, my dad served 30 years in our military, and he fought in 3 wars. And I lived in the military all my life between him and husbands, and I respect the military, and I respect law enforcement. Not that when I was younger I didn't take a few beatings by the cops. I did. But I respect the military, and I just want to say to y'all, I'm 65 years old. I am your grandmother. I am your mother. I'm your wife, your sister, your daughter. We've cried for years. Women have cried and asked you not to do this, to take care of your families. And I'm asking you now as the voice of all women, don't listen when they tell you you're going to get a promotion or you're going to get a pay raise if you do their bidding, the traitors' bidding. What's more important? Think of the women. Think of our tears. Think of our eyes looking at you and saying, love us and take care of us. Thank you, Drake. That's all I've got to say.
You're welcome.
Thank you, ma'am.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Updana. We really appreciate your calling in. Thank you so much. We have some wonderful listeners and members, do we not?
Yes,
we really do.
We do. God bless her.
God bless her, too, yeah. Okay, let's see. Oh, my goodness gracious. Let's see. We have Buck from Atlanta. Buck, you are live.
Thank you. I have kind of an off-the-beat question here, but it's something I think it's pretty important to know because this affects the whole world. Is the Planet X or the Nibiru, is that for real, or is that some kind of nonsense perpetrated by the elites?
From what I can understand, it's real, depending on which way you look at it, and depending on what attitude you're looking at it in. By attitude, I mean position of the Earth. As I understand it, as it's been explained to me by several different people, the thing could be a danger. Now, the problem with that is that it has been being hit by small asteroids, and its trajectory has been changing. My understanding was that the ETs were supposed to be doing this. In other words, they would come close enough to an asteroid to get it to follow them, say, or whatever. And I don't know how they do all that. And then just let it go, kind of like throwing a rock. Some of this, which I thought was interesting, I've got a friend that has worked with NASA for years, and I get information from him or her that other people don't get. And I told him I thought he was full of it, and I'd heard it was a rumor, and he sent me a picture, and it changed my mind. So I'll leave it at that. Now, supposedly it's not supposed to be a danger. It's being attended to. Other things that are supposed to be nasty, like the Earth doing a flip-flop, things of that nature, you're not going to have the destruction and fun and games everybody's talking about, according to what I have.
Well, I remember we had some space junk, about 6 months ago, a year ago, and something happened, and it was eliminated. So maybe the same thing's going to happen.
That's a good possibility.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Drake.
You're welcome.
I'm still here. I'm sorry. I was answering another call. I'm so
sorry. For all our listeners, we just had a small bit of rain coming over, and I don't know how many people have witnessed a triple rainbow. I have a triple rainbow going right over my house right now, and it is just gorgeous.
Got a camera?
I'm fixing to, maybe I ought to get in there and yell at my wife and get her to take a shot.
Grab a camera, because those seldom happen.
I know.
That's a good sign.
And all three are just bright. That's what gets me. Usually they're kind of hazy, but these three are super bright.
Wow. Wow. Okay, let's see. We have, go ahead and take another caller. We have Bob in North Carolina. Bob, you are live.
Yeah, hi. I'm sorry I missed the first hour because I forgot after Monday. I forgot it was at 7. So I'd like to relate an inside eyewitness account to the communist takeover of Ethiopia, if that's appropriate. I don't know what's been said today, but this story might help those in the military listening to decide what they need to do to clean their own house. Is that all right?
Okay. Well, is it going to be a lengthy? Because we're trying to get a lot of questions answered, and I might suggest that you might want to send us an email if it, that we could share with our listeners.
All right. I'll do it later because it's lengthy and I think it's important. So I'll try to do that.
I agree. If you will please send that, Bob, to onefreepeople@gmail.com.
I need to say in person because I'm during the Cold War era I was a victim of the American communists, so I'm also an eyewitness to some of it. So I'll try some other time, but it has to be spoken.
Okay. Thank you so much, Bob, and I'm sorry. I'm
That's
sorry.
All right.
Thank you.
Right. Yeah,
Thank you. Oh, I wish there were more hours in a day. Okay. Let's see. We have Daniel from Illinois. Daniel, you are live.
Daniel's here. I had actually a question for a statement to make and a question for Minuteman, but apparently he's getting turned into Minute Maid with that little rainbow over his head there.
Oh, that's all right.
Oh, he's still here.
Oh, he's back. Oh, Minute Maid is back. Great. I'm not going to go through all the names. Thanks. Real quick here. You know what, folks? I'm just talking to y'all on the line out there real quick. There's a lot of garbage out there. Don't listen to it. It takes your attention off of it. It happens, but that shouldn't set you off course. It's got a lot of good people on this all over. Militias, 2.3 through the country. Let's not get into the number of all the hunters that are just sitting there waiting to join the militia. They will when they will. Speaking of militias, the gentleman Mark up in Michigan, what's your take on that, Minuteman?
You mean Mark Gornke?
Exactly, yes.
Yeah, Mark Gornke is a staunch patriot, has suffered a lot for his patriotism.
Oh yeah,
I've always had a lot of respect for Mark. We don't agree on everything, but that happens between brothers, and
that's life. Yeah, I was just going to say.
I would never take nothing away from Mark Gornke. God bless him for everything he's been through, everything he's done for this country, and what more can I say? I've got the utmost respect for Mark Gornke.
Well, I'm just going to lighten up some of the load here because, I've been at this stuff a long time myself. And Mark actually, he has a show on every morning. So people with like militia questions, they want to feel a little bit better inside. If they want to hook up with something, I know he's real private with that. He's not going to give that to you over the air. You send him a letter, boom, he'll send one back. You're off and running. It's a place, if you want, I can tell you what radio station to go to every morning.
You betcha. It's the Intelligence Report. Yeah, if you can get that web addy out, please do.
Great. Yeah, great. Yeah, just go to it's called The Micro Effect. It's The Micro Effect. That's why I listen to him religiously. He is on there I'm in Central Time now, so he's on there from 7 a.m. till 9 a.m. Central Standard Time. The Micro. Daniel's my name. Minute Maid. that was cracking me up. So, great job.
Hey, we're going to be able to laugh a little bit in the face of the enemy, my friend. So.
No, they're no enemies. Somebody's recall them as a octopus with tentacles all over. Well, their suction cups they're gone. They're fried. They're burnt out. They're broke. They're history. It's like the guy staring you in the bushes over there hollering. Well, he doesn't have anything. Okay, and he can't get no help because he can't pay nobody. That's all I got to say. Let's get to the other callers. Thanks, guys. Love you all out there. Hey, Granny.
Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, we have Jim in Georgia. Jim in Georgia, you are live.
Oh, thank you. Drake, thanks for taking my call. First off, last April when I first heard you, I had a friend, a neighbor. I set him down and had him listen to the show. And after about 30 minutes, he said, you know, he has a relative that's a federal marshal. And I said to him, why don't you check with the federal marshal and see if he can confirm any of this? Because at that point, you know, I didn't know what to believe. The federal marshal came back and said there's a lot going on within the federal marshals right now. It's really hectic, but he doesn't look for anything to happen until October after the elections. Okay. Now, when you were gone, Drake, because of the storms a couple of weeks ago, Major Ed Daines called in a couple of times. Do you know him, and is he credible?
Major Ed Daine it sounds familiar.
Major Ed Daines was the head trainer for the remote viewing section of the military.
Okay. All right, now all right, you jogged the memory. Yeah, I'm familiar with him. What kind of question do I need to answer about all that?
Well, basically, I was hoping you could shed some light on his credibility, because
he's credible.
Because he's denied some allegations that from people that, and the thing is, when he denied the allegations, he got very agitated and resorted to ridicule, personal ridicule. And usually when that happens, it's a very personal matter. But I think his clearance, his security clearance may have been in jeopardy.
That's very probable. That's one of the games they play. I've had several sources that I was using that got dried up. They didn't dry up. They got dried up. What happens when that goes on is that you lose your security clearance. You're stuck. Sometimes you're reduced in rank. Generally, you're stuck in that rank position and given some kind of funky job somewhere in Timbuktu land. That's usually the way they put that. So, you know, and the thing about it is that it's very difficult to defend yourself in terms of being able to be forthcoming in any way, shape, or form, and also not say nothing. That's almost impossible.
Well, what it was,
I know exactly what you're dealing with because I deal with it a lot myself.
It was a 14-year-old and 18-year-old sons of military officials and Barack Obama were in a class years ago, and basically it was about the jump seat to Mars, and Barack Obama is really, it sounds to me, now I don't know how credible this is, but it sounded to me that Barack Obama is part of the Black Ops and has been for many years.
I did some checking on that, and I cannot find the links, so I can't say one way or the other from what the man's done in terms of his activities. I don't give him much leeway. Personally, I think that he's been stated to be a good guy, and I don't think so. That's my personal.
I don't think he. I think he's he's as dark as you can be. If you give me your email address again, do you listen to Coast?
Yes, I do sometimes.
Okay, I'll send you an archive, or I'll tell you which archive it is if you can find the archive, and you can listen to this guy that was in the class.
Okay.
Jim, the email address one more time is onefreepeople@gmail.com.
Okay. Hey, thanks you guys for taking my call. Have a good night.
Thank you very much, Jim. You have a nice evening.
Thanks. You too. Bye-bye.
Okay. Let's see. We have a call from at 3456. You're live.
Is that me?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
And you have a dog barking.
Okay. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to ask. I have two small questions, one for Minuteman and one for Drake. Minuteman, with all due respect, sir, unless you have some magic crystal ball or something, I really can't see how you or anybody, for that matter, will be able to tell which law enforcement officer or FBI agent is good and which is bad. And it's not like they come up to you and say, I'm good and bad. 1 second, sir. Let me ask my question. And last I checked, they don't have a badge with a special color saying they're good or bad. So my question to you is, you say that you know so many that are good, and the key word there is many. Would you be willing to provide us with a list of these officers and agents that you know that are good, so people would go directly to them?
To do that would be to risk them, now wouldn't it? It's not that I know many of them. I've met several of them. Not many, my friend. And to mention them by name could risk them. No, I will not do that.
Well, the same way how if somebody was to go to an FBI officer and not knowing which is good, he's also risking his life as well.
Well, it really doesn't matter. The object is to amass the numbers of patriots to task them to do their job. That's the point of all this.
Okay. And you had a question for Drake, sir?
My other question was for Drake. Drake, isn't it true that, 1 second. Isn't it true that you, along with others, were told to stand down months ago until the arrests were done? And because you didn't, that's why the arrests didn't happen?
No. The process of the stand down was questioned by me at the point that it was requested. When I asked exactly how they would like to get information out, they said they wanted it to go out on the Internet. And I said, what do you mean out on the Internet? And they said they wanted it to go out as much as possible on the Internet. And I told them that unless they wanted things to go public, that there was no way to avoid actually going on radio shows and things of this nature. At that point, they agreed with my summation of what the situation was. The stand down was dealing with a specific project that that referred to. It doesn't have anything to do with this. The other part of this is that there are two sets of people. They both, as I understand it, it was confirmed to me that they know of each other, and the set of officers that I'm dealing with are tactical. This is different from other portions of the service, and someone who has been in the military would recognize the differences. In that respect, anything that they ask of me, whether it's not to divulge information or whether it's to put information out, whether it's to address the troops, as I was requested to do, I don't have a problem serving my country in whatever manner they need me to serve in. So when I'm requested to do something, and I know who is asking, then I'll comply. If it's a bogus request, and I've had several of those, and a lot of people have had questions about the authenticity or validity of this or that or whatever. You'd be amazed how many invalid requests that come from people impersonating officers or people in a command position that come my way. You would be shocked at the number of them. The disinformation, NATO, huge disinformation campaign does play a large role in discrediting people who are real. And that is a problem that eventually is going to have to be addressed. As far as things running all the way to the end of the year, it depends on several things happening between now and then. If people pay attention and stand up, and this is not a stand down, and do so in a correct manner so that they are dealing with law enforcement and not stepping outside the law on their own accord, then and only then can these things be carried out correctly without violence and primarily get us going in the right direction. Now, that has been a request from the military to me that I actually ask the people to do this. The reason being is that at a certain point, the pressures against the bad guys will reach the point where most of the people that are hiding out within organizations, whether it's the military or whatever, will be put in a position where they will have to show themselves. They won't have a choice. This is basically what they're driving to do so that they can make sure that their house is absolutely squeaky clean. So it's a combination of things. They're willing to help, and they will step in large numbers at the appropriate time. This time, we need to help them. Okay? Hello?
I think the mute button's stuck again.
I'll let you tell that one. I'm not going to touch it.
Hello, Denise. Are you still with us?
She's in there hiding somewhere. I'm sure of it.
She might have got knocked offline if them storms finally got to her, so we'll give her a minute or two to go.
Yeah, that's not a problem.
We have not heard from Lady Dragon here lately, and I was wondering if our dear beloved sister has something to say.
I'm sorry, Drake.
I'm here. I'm listening to you guys. You're doing a great job.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to get the other callers to come on here. Okay, let's see. Who do we have? We have Chris in Dallas. Chris, you're live.
Denise.
Yes.
I have something to add since
certainly. You to that
asked
question.
Me how I was doing.
Okay.
I'm doing very well. I restarted my radio show on my site, so every day everybody can go and listen to the message of my day, plus the news of the day. So because so much thing is happening so fast that if you want to be on the cutting edge of knowledge, you go to ladydragon.com every day, and you'll get the message and the news of the day. So I'm doing well, Rick.
Thank you.
Denise, go on, dear. Denise?
Did we lose Denise?
You must be talking to somebody.
Okay, I'm sorry. No, I'm bringing Chris on from Dallas. I'm sorry. Chris, you're live.
Okay,
I'm okay. I'm just having a hard time here answering the callers, and then you finish speaking, and I'm still addressing the callers. So I apologize to our callers and to my spokespeople. I'm sorry.
As long as you're okay, that's all that matters.
Chris, are you with us?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'm sorry, Chris. Please go ahead.
Alrighty. Yes, ma'am. This question is for Drake. Drake, I'm a U.S. Air Force veteran. I live in Dallas, Georgia. And I sent an email to Saxby Chambliss, my senior senator from Georgia, about the UN gun control treaty. He sent me, his office sent me an email back saying he would not go along with that bill, anything of the Second Amendment. Then I received a newsletter from you from America, your militia site that I subscribe to, and saying that he's now committed treason by signing the other NDAA agreement, which I also disagree with, and particularly the section that has to do with the detaining American citizens. And the question that I sent to him in the email is, how can anyone swear an oath of office, as I did, as you did as well, and all former military people, to defend the Constitution, and sit there and go against the very document they're swearing to? And then I asked him, Representative West from Florida had outed about 70 socialists that's in our Congress right now, admitted socialists. And the question to Zaxby was, we know that there's 70-plus people that are socialists and communists in our Congress. Who has the authority to remove them?
We do. A lot of people have taken issue with the idea of citizen's arrest. And if you go to my website, you'll find exactly what the citizen's arrest parameters are. The other part of it is that each individual state also has state laws dealing with that. In other words, you can affect what's called a citizen's arrest by completing an affidavit specifying charges and submitting that through your sheriff to the individual. Now, that involves a judge and a warrant generally. However, if the sheriff decides to take it within his own right to effect the arrest on specified charges in just the affidavit, he may do so. So there's a lot of different ways that these things come about. But the other word that people are using that they need to forget about is a defining word for socialism. It's called progressivism. Progressive means to move away from any base defined authority. You progress to a point where there is no authority. And that basically is what the idea behind communism is, or socialism, is because socialism is the predicator for communism generally. Socialist, or a society being used in a definitive direction for gain, becomes communist when there is no authority, you cannot hold anyone responsible, and yet everyone is in charge of you. That is progressivism. The idea that everybody should be on food stamps, welfare, etc., is not the correct way for a society to be able to be functional. A lot of that is going to be adjusted. And it will be adjusted into the individual's advantage, meaning that a lot of the people that are in these situations are there needlessly. So that's, basically the answer.
Does the Sergeant of Arms have any power whatsoever to arrest any of these individuals?
Depends on which Sergeant which Sergeant of Arms or Sergeant at Arms it is. And it depends on the definition of his stature and standing. If he is the Sergeant at Arms, that means he is to make sure that things are orderly. If he is the Sergeant at Arms or of Arms, then he is the gatekeeper and closes an assembly door and locks out any form of interference. So generally there's more than one of them, and it depends on what situation they're in and how their office is defined as to what they can do. Okay?
Thank you. Thank you for your questions, Chris. Thank you so much. Okay, next we have Melanie from New York. Okay, Melanie, you are live.
Yes, hi, good evening, Drake, Minuteman, Lady Dragon. I'd just like to first acknowledge Denise for her incredible job that she's been doing. She's polite, she's gracious, she's juggling a lot, And I just want to say thank you so much.
Melanie, thank you very much. That's much appreciated.
Second thing I wanted to say was that I decided to go on CNBC the past 2 days and watch Bernanke's testimony, and it was very interesting what he said. He said, this is regarding the LIBOR scandal, and he said, oh, there's a small manipulation that happened with some of the banks. So Rick Santelli from the Chicago Trading Board, I believe in Chicago, well, he freaks out on national TV and said, a manipulation is a manipulation regardless if it's small or not. So the question I have for you, Drake, please forgive me if you've said this before, and I tried to look this up. Who is Neil Keenan, and what authority does he have to do all that he's doing?
Okay, Neil Keenan is an individual, just like me or someone else, who happened to have questions asked of him and whether or not he would be interested in helping some people out. He said he might be. From there, it has blossomed into an effect of him being responsible legally, lawfully, and having access to the collateral accounts upon which all the wealth of the world is based. Now, by wealth of the world, I mean the printing of currency takes place according to the access to those accounts. This goes all the way back to Solomon's mines and things of that nature. So it's a little bit involved, but I'm going to make this fairly short. The authority has been given to him by the varying families that are caretakers of these accounts for the people. And the authority was given because Neil basically said, when they asked him, said that he wasn't sure if he could do what they wanted him to do, but he would find out. He found out enough to know to do what he's doing. The authority comes from the collateral accounts and the fact that they are supposed to be for the people of the world and not to be absconded with by a bunch of greedy bankers. So the authority was given by a combination of the account in terms of its structure and the people that were responsible to take care of that account, both at the same time. So the monies or riches that are in these bunkers and accounts are designated for we, the people, in terms of a humanitarian effort of whatever it takes to make life better for all of us. That's the basis of what's going on. The problem has been that that some of the original rich families decided that they ought to own everything, to include our underwear if need be. Therefore, they decided they were going to strip these accounts, and they have been working at that through a combination of extraordinary manipulation and subterfuge and intricate paperwork and all kinds of happy stuff, and financial control of the people. Were the people to get wind of this, were the people to understand what is really going on, what's been done to them, I doubt that there would be a place that would be safe on the planet for these guys. Just that simple. So, in the process of setting things free, the ideology here is to go about things in a better manner, a more open manner, more honest manner, and legal manner than these people have ever afforded us. This puts them at the disadvantage. And that's the reason for the idea of no violence. This is the reason for partnering with law enforcement, and that can be federal and or local. This is the reason for going through court actions and things of that nature. Back in the day, in Germany, some people didn't act right, and they caused the collapse of a country, and they decorated all the parks with them. They hung them in all the trees and left them there. So that is sort of an instant gratification, but I would rather see the guy trying to swat flies in a FEMA camp for the rest of his life than give him the advantage or the privilege of a quick death. Now, the other part is that according to certain sources, these people can be rehabilitated. According to other sources, the banking system can be repaired. And according to the third source, we the people can make sure that that never has the possibility of ever happening again for any reason. And that's the basis of all of it.
All right, thank you. One other quick question. Can a detective help me arrest people, or it has to be a sheriff?
I would suggest you use law enforcement for several reasons. One is that detectives generally do not have that
capacity,
authority, and the other part is that you can make sure that things are done in a correct manner because the sheriff's not going to get himself in trouble. Okay.
Thank you, Melanie. Thank you so much, Melanie. Okay, we have Bob in North Carolina. Bob, you are live.
Yeah, hi. I did have another quick question. I know Drake has said that he has extensive psychic powers, and I was wondering what he sees happening this year.
Whole lots of changes. And that was not meant to be funny, but it is basically what if anybody has the capacity to use their intuition. Now, everybody knows what woman's intuition is. Well, project that into your mind. Then close your eyes and look and see what you can see using that intuition, and you'll get the same thing I got. Whole lots of changes. Okay?
Thank you, Bob. Thank you. Okay, we have John in Pennsylvania.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey, John.
How you doing? I was talking to Minuteman earlier today, and he shed some light on some things. And my question is about, I just went through, some hell through the jail system and all that. My question is, what's going to happen to all the inmates that are in jail and got all these outrageous sentences and all these outrageous bails? Is there going to be some kind of light shine on all that too?
Oh yeah. Basically, the way it works is this: it's called common law. Presently, we are under maritime law, and maritime law is going to go back out to sea, and common law is going to come up on dry ground. Common law stipulates if you do not have an injured party or you do not have damaged property, you don't have a crime as such. Now, there are acceptances to that simplicity. That's real simple, but that's the basic idea. Secondly, morality, golden rule, do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. In essence, a person's rights ends where the other person's nose begins, and you ain't allowed to punch them out and settle matters in that fashion. Number 3, as we know it, and I don't know why it's called the justice system because it ain't just, but in terms of the justice and legal system, extraordinary changes because of what I've mentioned before that. And you can expect these things fairly quickly, I would imagine. Okay?
Okay. Let me see. I'm sorry,
hello?
John, go ahead.
Yeah, I did tell my cellmate exactly what you just told me about. Our space ends where their nose begins, and he was cracking up. And when I was leaving, I got all emotional and told him I'll be back for him.
That sounds like an interesting thing.
That's a good thing.
God, you take care, brother.
God bless you guys.
Thank you very much for calling in, John.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Okay. Melanie in New York?
Oh, I was already on.
Oh, okay. Your hand was still raised, honey. I apologize. All right. All right. We had a couple more questions from the chat room and stuff. Okay. People are wondering if we might have people such as Keenan, Scott, or Wilcock on shows in the future with you, Drake.
Okay. Yes, that's possible, but not probable in some cases, depending on the individual. Neil does not like the spotlight, so he may not be on. But then again, it might be interesting for him to explain what the situations are going to be in, say, a short interview after things are set free. I've been on David Wilcock's show and or been recorded by him in an interview. David would probably be willing to grace our show with his presence. I have not asked Ben. He's on Benjamin Fulford's on vacation, so I got to wait till he comes back before I can ask him. But we also have a couple of other people that are involved. Keith Scott is one of those that's involved in the lawsuit, as well as Winston Shrout. I'm going to be in touch with a lawyer doing this, so there may be some legal questions answered. I mean, the variety's out there, and it's almost unlimited in terms of whom we can talk to. To go past this, I've also got a lot of legal experts, people that teach constitutional law, and they might be willing to do an interview as well. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. Let's see. We had this one's confusing me a little bit. The question. Okay. Military has never told the people anything before Drake. Why are you speaking on behalf of the military, Drake? And how is that supposed to? It's kind of vague. Anyway, why are you speaking on behalf of the military?
That's primarily a security question, and it's rather simple if you look at it. In order for them to stay safe, if they're the only ones that are in, say, a general area that's working with the Freedom People, they could be in grave danger if people found out about who they were. This is why I do not divulge names, and I try to be as vague as I can about where I get my information. Now, the reason that they told me that specifically is for security. Okay?
Okay. Let's see here. Okay. Some of the questions I have to kind of giggle. Okay. Oh, and I do want to let our audience know too that we do have discussion going on about the possibility of other guests for other shows that Drake may or may not want to be involved in. Some of the people that were involved in the film Thrive, which I'm sure many of you are familiar with, Dr. Stephen Greer. We're hoping to possibly have him come on, and a few other exciting people. And if you have suggestions as to people that you would like to hear on the program or invite on for us and let us know, that would be a nice thing also for our followers and our members and listeners to participate. Okay, and Drake, with that, and Minuteman, we are out of time. We have 90 seconds left for wrap-up.
Okay, bye.
Well, that was a nice closing remark. How about you, Rick?
Well, look, to all our listeners, it's time to stand up. It's time to get busy. It's time to ride. It's time to get out there and let's sound off. Let's bring as many patriots as we can to the plate on this, folks. This is something new. It's got potential. Let's get her done.
Okay, Lady Dragon, any final words?
Yes, if anybody who needs to reach me, just go to ladydragon.com, and this is where you'll be able to reach me. Thank you, and good night, everybody.
Okay. thank you, everyone, for being with us, and we will see you on the weekend update on Sunday, if not before. And everyone, take care, sit tight, and we'll see you at the Global Voice 2012. Thank you for being with us.